Hey, fellow cannapreneurs. This week's show is brought to you by HMO Plus. Let professional growers build and install your in-home growing system for all your growing needs. Call Joe Growflounder at 719-569-6529 or visit him at www.hmoplus.com. That's HMOPLUSS.com. Now on to the show. Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project. I am Brainstorm. This is your weekly web-based radio show podcast from the CCP radio studios high up in Denver, Colorado. I want to thank all of you for joining us as we go into the new year. 2014 is going to be a very big year for us. A lot of great shows lined up as we're building up this cannabis community, and you're part of the crowdsourcing of this project, exploring the business side of the newly emerging Colorado economy. This is not your son's stoner show. We're focusing on the business, the industry, and a little bit of the lifestyle. Here to highlight the patient, the user, the retailer, to the geek in the garage creating the next innovation in cannabis. We're going to talk about technology, growing, innovation, business, marketing, everything you need to know about the U.S. Industrial Age 2.0. What happens when hemp comes to town? We're going to be right here to find out. This is the media platform for all you fellow cannapreneurs to come build sustainable business models in an industry that we all love, the Colorado cannabis community. Did you get a chance to listen to last week's show? We had Joe Growflounder on from HMO Plus. Really great conversation. Got deep and personal, talking about the triumphs and struggles of startups and being an entrepreneur, working through this industry, failures and successes. You know, Joe really had some insightful perspective into what it takes to not just be an entrepreneur, but to what it really takes to be involved in this industry. His passion came through in such a way that I just wanted to look back real quick and take another look at what we talked about last week, because if you missed it, it was too good to pass over. Let's take a quick listen.
So yeah, I guess my first real business venture would have been Latin American Travel Tribune.
So you went from being a cannabis newspaper advocate in Costa Rica to an electrician to a jeweler.
That's correct.
Well, I bring that up because you're kind of an entrepreneur. In a sense, you've had a good 20-year stretch of multiple little businesses and pursue things on your own.
Yeah, I guess in that sense, I guess it is. I don't really think of it like that. You know, throw down an idea, let's try it. Everybody can pull something out of a hat if they just think about it a little bit. I really like teaching. We've come up with this formula where we can teach people how to grow for themselves. Everybody should grow. And we shouldn't have any laws regarding what we should grow, because I don't know the difference between medical marijuana and other kind of marijuana.
The difference is a controlled grow that is the highest quality and the most cleanest organic way that is producing the most potent medical use, meaning the least amount needs to be consumed to get the maximum effect from it. So medical marijuana is produced by top growers in the sense that it could pass the challenge of experts that say this is the primo, the top of the top. Dispensaries aren't going to want to buy from some stranger because they have to control their grow because it's medical grade. So they have to show their patients and the state that what they're growing is top of the line. So they need to buy from other people who they know are credited growers because they're required to grow 70% on premise.
Right now we're setting up a program to where we can basically have a seminar top to bottom, from mothers, plants, seeds, all the way up, with very minimal amount of money going into it. The seminars are to teach everybody how to do it, and then I also have a service where we've actually turned it into a tech service installation. I really enjoy working with the people. People want to have this. When they do electrical work, people have to have it. Your lights are off, so you need to have your electrical fixed. Nobody likes to pay for that. I found in this business that people are dying to pay for it. I mean, it's something I believe in. I've always believed in it. Anything that we can help with.
Anything you need, call Joe the Growflounder. All right, well, there you go. If you missed last week's show, go back and take a listen. You can get it right from the website or, again, any one of our main channels, Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker. Take a listen, get all the information in detail. Very insightful show. Let's move on now to our next segment, Twin News, This Week in News. All the up-to-date cannabis reporting that you need right from our Facebook page. That's right. We're going to do all the legwork for you. You don't need to do all the social media searching just to get the news you need. We'll do it for you. All you got to do is listen in or take a scroll down our Facebook page because we aggregate everything out there that's cannabis related coming from every possible source. We're going to aggregate it and consolidate it and deliver it back to you right here. Let's get into it. Twin News.
Good news!
All right, here we go. First up, we have confirmed the DEA struck a deal with Mexico's most notorious drug cartel. Court documents detail arrangements between the U.S. government and the Sinaloa cartel. Posted by BusinessInsider.com. City forces homeowners to destroy their vegetable garden. Disinfo.com reports, can the government prohibit you from peacefully and productively using your own property to feed your family? Very interesting question, and one that will be very controversial, especially when we get into home growers growing their own cannabis. Vegetables is just a step away. We'll see what happens. Legalizing pot makes police departments poorer. Posted by Vice.com. In the United States, property seizures and drug cartel raids help raise funds for police departments and police operations. But now that marijuana is legal in Washington and Colorado, there are going to be fewer drug raids, which means fewer seizures, which means fewer dollars. Vice.com. Bank says no to marijuana money. Legal or not? Good. Keep corruption out of cannabis. New York Times is reporting that banks across the country are reluctant to provide services to marijuana businesses, fearing that federal regulators and law enforcement authorities might punish them. Here's what hemp looks like. A car completely made out of hemp. And for those of you who are confused what the difference between hemp and cannabis from the THC side is, hemp has less than 0.3% THC, and THC is a psychoactive component, the chemical that gives you that euphoric high feeling, that heady high, versus a body feeling or a body effect. Over 75 U.S. manufacturers make hemp products. This isn't a toy car. This can actually be a car made completely for hemp, fueled by hemp. tnhemp.org posting. Speaking of hemp, Boulder Hemp Meeting Saturday will showcase the many uses of industrial cannabis. Like its much-discussed cousin, marijuana, hemp is emerging from the shadows of illegality and being celebrated this weekend in the inaugural Hemp Meeting, Boulder County 2014, posted by ColoradoDaily.com. One of the bigger issues and the least talked about is the hemp issue. When hemp comes to down, industrialization 2.0 is going to take off. We're going to see manufacturing and fabrication, products and industries emerging in the thousands. Moving on, Kansas man plans weekend marijuana buying van trips to Denver for a surprise $420. Reported and posted by CannabisCity.com. Colorado reportedly running out of marijuana. Many sources, many people, and many news reports are talking about how cannabis or marijuana is running a shortage due to the 5 to 8 million estimated first week sales of recreational marijuana. Let me just say, ha, ha, ha. Colorado's not running out of marijuana. Nobody is running out of marijuana. Let me give you a quick breakdown to what's happening here. Let's just do some basic math. And I'm not a math person, so I'll disclaim that up front. Math is not my forte. I've never been good at it. But I do know how to use a calculator. They are selling ounces at recreational dispensaries for an average of $400 per ounce. There are 16 ounces in a pound, which means that is, on average, again, $6,400 a pound. Again, doing basic math, if we take that, and let's just say at the high end, let's say by now it's $10 million, all right? So let's say since this report was posted, now we're up to around $10 million. Per pound, at an average of $6,400 a pound, is 1,562 pounds sold in the last week. Okay, now for those of you who are not in the industry or involved with any part of this lifestyle, you have no way to judge what this means. $10 million or 1,000 pounds is virtually meaningless in the sense of it has no meaning compared to anything else. If we talk about other commodities, they sell in the tonnage, and they're talking about millions of dollars and millions of tons and things weighing in bushels and barrels and the whole deal. Well, 1,000 pounds is not a lot. There's 1,000 pounds being grown probably by the handful of dispensaries that are recreational selling. But that doesn't mean that's 1,000 one-time grow, 1,000 pounds one time. That is every cycle, and most of them, I'm willing to bet, are using indoor cycles. And if we take in growing and curing time and the whole deal, let's just say on the far end, somewhere between 60 and 90 days, on the long end. Well, okay. What we're looking at here is not a shortage. We're looking at an inefficient distribution. Because those dispensaries can more than grow more than enough to meet any demand, as well as any other medical center or any other facility that needs to supply directly to patients. The issue is the specific regulation that is being put on centers or dispensaries about how much they can grow. But break it down. $6,400 a pound, it doesn't take a lot to add up to a few $1 million. But we grow a hell of a lot more than 1,000 pounds here in Colorado. Rest assured, world, we are not running out of cannabis. Come here, give us your money, and then go home. We have the best there is to offer. That's all you need to know. And that was This Week in News. Twin News. Everything that we thought was important that we just stole from somebody else and repeated on our Facebook and then regurgitated it to you. Let's move on now to our interview with Patient Maggie. Very fun interview. I had a great time interviewing her. This is your final warning. This episode contains explicit language and heavy talk about drug use and even the hint of active drug use. Listen at your own risk. Now, she's not a business owner like the last couple shows. She's a patient. What the industry was built around originally was to help people who were suffering, help people who pharmaceuticals weren't doing it or were making them worse. Maggie's story is very powerful and interesting because it highlights not just how cannabis can help, but how cannabis is providing an alternative to let people think different and feel different. You see, when you're not pumping your body full of toxins from pharmaceuticals that are making you sicker than the disease that you're supposed to be fighting, you have a chance to actually think about life and explore life and be happy or content. As you'll hear, we talk about happiness and satisfaction being closely related. You know, Patient Maggie for 16 years has been suffering with multiple sclerosis, something that I know very little about and most people probably know very little about. But it is one of those debilitating illnesses, something that we don't think about because it may not be as obvious on the outside as somebody who's suffering from a cancer or other type of chronically terminal disease. But what we need to realize is that being a patient is not just about, oh, I have pain, let me smoke some pot. Being a patient is about, I'm suffering and I need relief. And the industry that's there that's supposed to help people and make them feel better as well as get better is not doing it. Maggie talks about her struggles over the last 16, 17 years with MS, but as well as her attitude and how smoking pot didn't affect her attitude, but her attitude affected her MS. And smoking pot helped relieve the symptoms so she could focus on being positive. We had a good time here. I hope you guys enjoy listening to it just as much as I had interviewing her and talking with her. I've known Maggie for a little while, and it was very good to hear about her current status of health and very good to hear about how other people can be affected and get help from this. Because this community, this cannabis community, this project is about forming